It's the 2 Minute Drill Podcast. Jim Monaghan along with Chris Swendeman. You can see Mr. Bill's Mafia is very happy after Sunday's game against the Patriots. I will allow you to gloat, sir. The floor is yours.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you over the 21 nothing lead you had. Or
Me? What do you mean we?
24/7 or 24/7 lead that you had at
I
one
wasn't
point.
playing. I had nothing to do with it.
I'm just saying this would have been a much different conversation if the first half had stayed the way it was. And it looked very bleak early on, but I was absolutely giddy by the end of last night. As Dion Dawkins, who was one of my favorite players for the Bills, said last night, they weren't going to have the shirt and hat party on their watch, so they made sure Patriots didn't get the division, and it's one game between them with three games to go. It's going to be a very interesting rest of the season.
You want to take a look at the schedule? The Buffalo Bills have
Yep.
Cleveland, the Eagles, excuse me, and the
Eagles,
Jets, and the
exactly.
Patriots have the Ravens, the Jets, and the Dolphins. So arguably an easier schedule for the Patriots for these last three games. And interesting to note that the home team lost both times, and definitely a wake up call for both teams, although I think it took Buffalo a little bit longer to respond. We'll see what happens with the Patriots, how they
Yep.
respond this coming week. But I think it was Diggs who said after the game that we kind of needed this. I don't know if I agree with him or not because, you're up by three scores and you allow five possessions after another, one after another for five in a row to the opposing team to score. That's not really a good way to go into the final 3 weeks of the season.
And they were cruising. I mean, what did you guys win? Nine in a row. They won nine in a row leading up to this game.
It was 10, I
Uh,
think.
or 10, yeah, 10
Yeah.
in a row. So, maybe this will give them a little spark. Maybe they got a little comfortable. Who knows? But, and they were up on a 21 nothing lead at one point, 24/7. And, maybe they got comfortable. I mean, May's still young. That's a young team for the most part. But, maybe it was a lesson learned for them. We're going to see at these next three games what it holds for both teams. It's going to be interesting photo finish for sure.
I don't think either one of them will catch Denver in terms of the top seed in the AFC, but that'll be interesting as well as they go through.
Yep.
But, probably the number two seed. It's been interesting watching what Allen has done the past few games. He has definitely
Yep.
solidified himself among the leaders in the MVP race.
And I think May has too. I think May for nobody saw this coming in his second year. And I think the one person who can kind of, overtake both of them at this point, who's playing, I mean, just great football at such a high level, is Matthew Stafford. But I think Stafford has more weapons than Allen or May combined. Allen and May, I think, do it with less. And uh, Stafford's got a great running back in Kyron Williams. He's got the ridiculous pair of receivers in Puka Nakua and Devontae Adams. But he's also a lot older than May and Allen. So to be playing at that high level, McVay's got them playing well. But it's going to be interesting MVP race too, for sure.
And you and I were talking before we came on about the officiating, and I know a lot of
Oh,
Patriots fans were upset after the game about the officiating. It is not why they lost that game, not even remotely close. That said, this has been an ongoing issue. We've talked about this, and it's for years. This
mhm.
isn't just this season, but
Right.
there is a definite officiating problem in the NFL, and you saw it a number of times yesterday. I don't think they still know exactly what is and what isn't pass interference. And then there was that play where everybody in the building thought that the Bills had a first down, except for the officials on the
It,
field.
they showed the replay, and even the announcers said, "Didn't we fix this after last season?" And Buffalo was one of the teams last season who got royally jobbed by the markers. So the chain gang, as they call them, the guys that hold the markers, are basically there for cosmetic reasons. They have the markers in the ball, and they still couldn't get it right yesterday. Josh Allen looked at one of the refs like, "What? Did you not see where we landed? It's just, it amazes me. I don't know what fans are going to say now with um, Kansas City being officially eliminated because where are all the bad refs going to go?
Yeah.
So it's
No,
going to be interesting the rest of the way to see what happens because with Kansas City out, it's an open AFC. So let's see what happens from here on out.
I want to pivot to baseball and more specifically to the New York Mets. Their fans are not happy, and Met fans, you're not going to like what I have to say here. But this is all part of the plan. Steve Cohen did not get stupid overnight. He shouldn't sell the team. You don't want the Wilpons back. But we have talked about this before. If Pete Alonso does not hit that home run in October of 2024 in game 3 against the Milwaukee Brewers, we're not having this conversation because Alonso's gone, and you, as a Met fan, you would not have cared about it because it would have just been another, oh, God, Pete, really? You let us down? I know he's had a lot of big home runs, but that was a quintessential moment. So they bring him back on a 2-year deal with an opt out.
Right.
What is that opt out telling you? Pete, we really don't want you. You're not part of the long-term plan. And if you look at what they've done this year, it's obvious that that roster, as constructed for 2025, didn't work. They didn't win. It clearly didn't work. So guess what? Goodbye. Not just Pete, but some other guys as well. Fan
Nimmo.
favorites. Nimmo.
Right.
See ya. Diaz. You and your trumpet. See ya. And I'm looking at who the Mets have in terms of prospects. 7 of the top 10 of their prospects on MLB.com probably going to be in the minor leagues this coming season. And 4 of those top 10 aren't projected to reach the major league level until 2027 or later.
Right.
So I think that they're overall looking to change the clubhouse culture. And we know about what's going on with Lindor. Well, we think we know what's going on with Lindor and McNeil. I think they're looking to change the clubhouse culture. And I think they're looking to build for not this coming season, but next year and the year after that.
And you also got to think too, down the road, Tarek Skubal, who may get traded, is going to be a free agent after this year. And he's going to command a lot of money. I mean, the guy just, back to back Cy Youngs. This is, and he's going to be in the prime of his career. Are they going to open the wallets for him? You'd think, but and they went out. David Stearns, former, Milwaukee Brewer front office guy, goes and gets his guy in Devin Williams and brings him in cheaper than Edwin Diaz. Everybody's like, "Oh, Edwin Diaz," but it's only 60-some million. Well, that's money you could save and put elsewhere. Maybe for pitching because you could have used a couple of starters. But they also have, as you said, with the youth, that Nolan McLean was a revelation for this team last year. Jonah Tong, and you have a few more in the Mets farm system that could really help out. So are you really in that bad of shape, Mets fans? I don't think so. You got a clubhouse guy in Marcus Semien back, older, longer in the tooth, not long for a Met tenure, but he's an on-base machine, and that's what the Mets sorely lack. And they wanted to move McNeil off second. You got that done Semien plays every day. So are you really that bad? You might look a little bit off right now, but going into the season, I don't think they're anywhere near as bad as the Met fans feel because they're losing their fan favorites. And it's all well and good, but all your fan favorites didn't do anything to help the team get to the playoffs last year. And this is a team that severely underachieved with the big ticket offseason acquisition of Juan Soto. So you needed a change, fans, and this is it.
I think the signing of Polanco will help a little bit. Jorge Polanco coming in from Seattle. He can play 3 of the 4 infield positions. Of course, the Mets want him to play the 4th one now. They're going to try him out at first base. Maybe Vientos is there, although you're starting to hear Vientos might be traded. I think the only guy on the roster Not likely to be moved or impossibly moved is Soto
Right.
because of the
And
contract. Otherwise, I mean, there were whispers about Lindor 2 weeks ago. I think that was
yes.
really stupid because I
Right.
think he is a big, major clubhouse leader. But I'm telling you, this is all part of a major plan looking ahead to 2026 and beyond. And I really think the clubhouse culture was a problem. And I think this is how Cohen and Stearns decided this is how we're going to clean things up.
Met fans, look at the Milwaukee Brewers. See the success they had last year, albeit, they ran into the juggernaut of the Dodgers, but they were the number one overall team record wise in the National League in the regular season. Who built that team? That was David Stearns. So, and I've heard a lot of people talking about, oh, a small market GM, you can't win in New York. What? What? That makes no sense. If you can build a small market team with a small budget, what's it? Just because you have a larger budget doesn't mean you have to spend it all in one shot. It's a slow build. And I think in the long term, you know, Met fans will come down off this, off this rant that they're on right now. The sky will not be falling at some point, and they'll realize that Stearns is going to build it in his vision. He came in with a team that he basically inherited, sans Soto. And now he's starting to make it into what he wants and bring up people in the, players from the minors and mix them in. It's going to be a very interesting season, I think, for the Mets. And I think they're going to surprise some of their fans with, maybe some of the success they could have.
Before we sign off, I do want to bring up one more topic, and that was Bruce Springsteen, Steve Van Zandt, and company at the Stone Pony in Asbury Park on Sunday night. It was a benefit for Why Hunger, the 25th anniversary of the organization that Harry Chapin and Bill Ayers founded. And what a magical night. And not just because Bruce and Steven were there, but just the entire lineup. Tom Chapin was there, Jen Chapin as well. The Dixie Dregs were there. They
Oh,
performed.
wow.
The Disciples of Soul,
Oh,
excuse me, the Disciples of Soul, both with and without Stephen Van Zandt, a couple of members of the Smithereens, Dennis Dyken and Jim Babchak. I mean, it was a magical night. And is he here? Is he coming? Is he? That just went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And a lot of people knew that Bruce was going to show up. Truth be told, he walked past me, Chris, and I didn't even recognize him.
oh man.
Well, he had
Come
a low
on.
profile
Right.
baseball
I'm
cap pulled
sure.
down over his eyes in a jacket, and he just walked in. And I was looking, I was over by the door, the back door
The
by the
back
back
door.
bar, if you
Yep,
know
by the
that
back bar.
area.
Yeah, oh, I
And,
know,
so
absolutely know well.
I was like, I know that's where he's going to come through. And that's where he came through. And I'm with Tom Kaminsky.
Yep.
And Tom said, "Did you see him?" And I said, "See who?" He said, "He just walked right past you." I'm like, where? What? But a
Yeah.
truly magical night. And then when he and not Johnny, when he and Steven
Stephen.
were up on stage together, and you're thinking back of all of the magical nights that the two of them have spent on that stage, both
Right.
together and with various bands, and you just get this warm, fuzzy feeling.
I mean, it's something only we as New Jerseyans can understand. People can appreciate it and they could say, "Oh, that's awesome." But if you're not from Jersey, you don't quite get it. And especially if you've never been to the Pony. There's a magic in that place. You know what? People may come see it from out of town and go like,
And they do.
and of course they do. And because they saw an episode of The Sopranos, and oh, I got to go see the Pony. And they come in and they look at it and they go kind of tilt their head like a dog would and go, "Oh, that's it. It's our place." As Jerseyans, this is our place, and there's magic in that place, and you only get it if you can really appreciate the magic over the years of Southside, Little Steven, Bruce, that all brought to that stage, and so many other Jersey artists. I mean, you and I could go back and forth with the Smithereens and so many other bands. I mean, we could sit here for another, half hour, and just name people that have played there from Jersey. there's just a magic to it. I mean, I have a T-shirt that I wore to one of the Dead Air shows, actually, that says, "I heard Bruce was going to show up." Now, if you're not from Jersey, you wouldn't get the shirt. You wouldn't get it. But you laughed because you know exactly what it means. And most people from Jersey do. There's a magic of when any big name Jersey artist is playing at the Pony, because you never know when the other guy may show up and jump on stage. And last night you got to see the magic live firsthand.
And of course, if you've seen the movie Deliver Me from Nowhere, they show that a few times with Bruce going up on stage with the house band at the time, Cats on a Smooth Surface. As a side note, I played in the band for years in the late 80s and early 90s, and we played the Pony a number of different times. And we had it on pretty good authority that Bruce was going to be there. And all I could think of was, oh my gosh, what if he jumps up on stage? What song? Like, I'll hand him my guitar. What song do we want to play? He ended up showing up that night, but after we got off stage. So it never happened. We knew it was, we knew he was coming. We had heard from a pretty reliable source ahead of time, but we just weren't on stage. He went up and played with the headliner later on. I think it was Warren Zevon. I forget.
Oh, wow. Talk about a headliner.
Yeah, but that was as close as we got.
Right. But still, I mean, that's just one of the lore about being at the Pony. You never know. It could be any night. It's just, that's what I think is just so cool about that place. You can go in there on any given night, and maybe it's not Bruce, but maybe it's a Little Steven. Maybe it's a Southside, or before you stop touring and playing live. And so many others, the guys from the Smithereens, same thing. It could be any, and it's just so awesome about that place. It's just legendary for a reason.
Speaking of Southside, not to tell any tales out of school, I hear he is on the mend.
That's so good to hear.
Yeah, it is good news.
I mean, Johnny has always been one of my absolute Jersey favorites, always will be. And you know what? Just to hear that, not even for any reason for music, other than selfish reasons, not musically, but just for him to be okay. That's the reason.
He's part of the furniture,
right? Exactly. Yeah, I mean, you can't say the Pony without saying, Johnny and the Jukes. So but you just want to see him healthy and on the mend, and that's all that matters. I mean, the touring, that would be a plus, but just great to see him on the mend and healthy.
All right, so we've talked Bruce and Southside and Little Steven. We're trying to tell Met fans to relax. We should tell Yankee fans the same thing because they're apoplectic as well.
I was going to say they're not far behind.
Yeah, this is all part of the plan, and we've let you gloat about your Buffalo Bills, Mr. Bills Mafia. If you like what we do, tell a friend. If you hate what we do, tell an enemy. Just for the love of heaven, tell somebody. Like, subscribe, whatever.
Do all the social media and podcast things.
Yeah, share it, maybe comment. It'll help the algorithm or something along those lines.
One of those things. Yeah, exactly.
And we'll talk next week, Swendeman.
Yeah, you got it. Have a great week, Jim.